pumped up for Daytona Bike Week. We are just days away from this 84th annual happening. And ladies and gentlemen, you better tune in for this one because it may be my most beautiful guest of all time. She is world famous. She is talented. She has become the token rally model and so much more. Please welcome the lovely Miss Karin Noelle. How you
Thank
doing,
you
Karen?
so much, Jack. That's one heck of an introduction. I really appreciate it. I'm doing great. I can't believe we are just days away from Daytona Bike Week. I mean, less than 12 hours I'm going to be on the road headed to Florida. I have so much I have to pack up yet. Haven't even started loading my truck, but man, I'm so excited to get rally season going. I kicked off my rally season about a week and a half ago in Cave Creek, Arizona. I know you came out there, but Daytona Bike Week, man, that really kicks it off.
Yeah, it really is hard to compare anything to Daytona. A lot of people always ask me, what do you like better, Sturgis or Daytona? Two of my favorites. And I'm sure you agree, all these rallies have their individual, unique personality, but there is just something so special about Daytona that can't be replaced. And it's the biggest from what I understand, numbers wise. So we shall see how this goes down in just a few days. But I want to back up for a second. And for anybody who does not know you, you can tell your story better than me, but
Sure.
I I took notice of you right away at, I think it was PRI, like 2015, and you were working the Valco booth,
Yeah,
and you were
it might have
so
even
cool.
been longer than 2015.
I was just like, this woman's so cool. And of course, you being such a beautiful lady, I gave you a cycle drag sticker and you gave me a shout out, and I thought that was awesome. Well, then on the way back, I was working at WGAL at the time, and one of the guys there was like, "Hey, I saw your video. That's Karen. I went to school with her in
Mhm.
Lancaster." And I'm like, "Oh, super cool, Central PA girl." Well,
Yeah.
then I start seeing you at every single motorcycle rally. So what I'd like to know is how did you transition into model to motorsports model to now the token rally model?
It's actually kind of funny. I've worked in racing my whole life. I started working in racing and car shows when I was 18, and I my first start into rallies, I was working the Rolex 24 in Daytona, which I've worked for years, and the team that I was working for, our car actually crashed out within like the first hour of the race. So we went to the Patron tent to have a good time. And the bartender there, she's like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty. Like, you should come work Bike Week. I have friends that are opening up a bar." I'm like, yeah, okay, why not? I started working at the Broken Spoke in Daytona, which would have been about a month and a half after the Rolex 24. Worked that bike rally and just kind of worked out. Everybody liked me. That I just kept going with it. And at that time, I actually owned my own staffing and talent agency. So picked it up pretty easily. I've also bartended since I was 17. So I had a good background in bartending, good background in modeling and motorsports, and just all worked out.
It sure has. It's amazing how you've blown up, and so many people ask me about you because, as you know, I love to interview you, and I put you in the thumbnail of some of my videos. And I walk down the street, and people say, "Where's Miss Karen Noelle? Where is she at?" And I'm
Love it.
like, "Good. I think that hopefully this is benefiting both of us because what I got to compliment you on. If anybody thinks that it just simply involves having a pretty face and showing up at Bike Week or Sturgis, you're one of the hardest workers I see out there. That
Ooh, I
you
do my
are
best. I do my
first
best.
first thing in the morning. You're there till 2 3 a.m., and it just never stops. How do you handle that constant flow of traffic for 10 days?
It's a lot. It's a lot. I get asked that question all the time, and everyone like makes their assumptions on how I do it. Honestly, the answer is an answer that nobody wants to really know, but like I'm actually healthy. Like I work out, I eat right, I meal prep, I sleep for the 3 hours that I can at Daytona. And I love all the bikes, I love all the people, but at the end of the day, I'm there to make money. And I tell myself, hey, it's 10 days. It's 10 days, go in, knock it all out, and then come home and die for about 2 days at my house and then do it all over again. And unfortunately, after the first couple rallies actually that I have are just back to back to back with events. Even after Daytona, I have about 12 hours off and then back at home. And then I go back down Florida for Sebring.
Very, very impressive. And guys, if you're just joining us, Miss Karin Noelle is our guest. You can come with your questions. Please double tap the video if you can. That will drive the likes up. And also check in where you're watching. John Roberts says hi, Karen. Matt says hi, Karen.
Hi, guys.
Everybody getting pumped up. So, Karen, let me ask you about this. I know you said that you were always a motorsports fan. Were you always a motorcycle girl, or was this something that was kind of new?
It was a little newer. I really liked dirt bikes. Like I had pit bikes, I had four wheelers, I had all of that. So the motorcycle thing was not as big as the car thing in my life. I mean, my family when I was growing up, like they all had motorcycles, but I didn't actually get my motorcycle license until after the first rally that I worked. I mean, I've always ridden dirt bikes, rode pit bikes, but I got my first motorcycle, I think maybe after I worked like the first or second Daytona.
Very cool. Very cool. And on that same token, right there, Looney Tune wants to know, what do you ride, Karen?
Mostly, I have 2 Honda Groms, like, that's what I spend most of my time riding on just because I'm about 5'1" and 105 pounds, so I'm a little more comfortable on those, but, I actually started on a Harley Sportster, I still have that bike. I've kinda been looking around for a new bike this year, I'm not really sure. I kinda have a new bike and a new car on my mind for this year, but we're gonna have to see, um how the year goes with everything.
Well, I think it's so cool to see you and your friend Lex out there on the Groms. Those are the perfect bikes too to travel long distances. I think I saw you guys actually drive to Sturgis. Do you
Yeah.
drive to a lot of these rallies to help keep
Um,
travel costs down?
Honestly, it doesn't really help with the travel costs. It when you fly, I have to take so much stuff to rallies. Like I said, I meal prep for everything. I cook all my own food pre-rally, and then I take all my own food to rallies just so I don't have to eat street food the whole
Mm,
time that I'm there. That helps
smart,
out a lot. So I
smart.
like being able to take all of my own stuff. I like having my own vehicle. Right now, Arizona is the only rally that I fly to. And that's only because it's so tight with the dates that I have to get right home and get right to another event. But Sturgis, I drive to, Daytona, I drive to, Laconia, Myrtle Beach, which isn't that far from me. And yeah, we take bikes out to both of them, or all of them pretty much except Daytona. Um, Daytona's the only one that I don't really have to commute because I actually stay at the bar the whole time.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay,
Yeah,
very cool.
it's I
Well,
actually stay on property. That's kind of the only way that I can make it work. They have a little apartment there for us, and I go right upstairs at the end of the night,
oh,
get my
that's
3 hours of
perfect.
sleep, come right back downstairs again, and start all over again.
Yeah, I'm sure there's many a night where you collapse because I know you're the last one out there and the first one. Oftentimes, people looking for you. So I give you a lot of credit. Like I said, I love motorcycles, but even I can find bike week to be tiresome when you get to day 7, day 8, you're drinking Monster, you're trying to get a little pick me up. It can wear you out.
It's definitely tiring. It's definitely tiring. You can it's so funny to me when I see pictures that everybody posts of me and I see the pictures from the beginning of the week and I see the pictures from the end of the week. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so dead in all of those pictures at the end of the week." But it's at some point you just start running on adrenaline by the end of it, and even on the way home, like the first year that I drove out to Sturgis, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, I had planned on stopping on the way home because it's 24 to 26-hour drive for me, and I stopped for, like, I wanna say 30 minutes, and my anxiety was so high because I had Groms in the bed of my truck, and I didn't wanna get them stolen or anything to take a nap, and I'm like, "You know what? I'm still running off adrenaline from bike week," and I just powered through and drove the rest of the way.
Well, you know what? I give you credit because a lot of people think that I drive to all of my events and I just couldn't do it. I try to drive to the close ones that I can, but for instance, I was covering Supercross, so I was in Dallas a couple days ago. I was in Detroit the day before that, and there's just not enough time for me by myself.
Yeah.
It's awesome that you got some driving help. I know that that's cool. Another problem I run into that I'm sure you're running into is it is just so expensive to travel to get to these rallies, and then we know when you get to these rallies, Sturgis, a typical Quality Inn that is like $49 tonight, will be $700 rally week. So
Right.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
sure you've got your tricks, but how have you been able to deal with these rising travel costs?
It's this year's the one that's really gonna hit us really hard, and you're gonna see a lot of girls that you're used to seeing in Sturgis this year not there. I I actually do travel logistics and event management for a living as my full
Oh,
time job.
wow.
So that helps me out with it. So I'm really good at finding cheaper ways to travel. I book Airbnbs for a lot of the girls. A lot of people don't know that we're all the rally bartenders. We're responsible for covering all of our own travel costs. That's not something that the bars provide. We don't get an hourly wage. We don't get travel costs covered. We pay all of that ourselves, and then we just work on tips. So this year in Sturgis, we've been paying around, I think the past couple years, my house was about 5,500 for the rally week. This year it bumped up to 10,000, which is
Wow.
insane. And that's a tiny little three-bedroom house. It's nothing luxury. Half of us are sleeping on air beds in the living room. It's basically just a place to lay your head at night. And the costs are just outrageous. And it last year the costs were up a little bit, but obviously this year is the 85th for Sturgis, so it's going to be up even more. Some of the girls just aren't going because they can't afford it, and it's not worth it. Which
Yeah, it's
sucks.
been tough to navigate those waters for me too. A lot of the events, some of them, you just have to look at financially. For some reason, last year I was getting hit with $1,200 plane tickets to some of my
It's
events last minute, and
insane.
I'm like, these
Yeah.
sometimes can be $500. You never know.
Mhm.
So I do have another question for you that you answered, but first I want to get to some of these comments. Ray Muro says, "What's up?" If you guys have any more, let us know. Steven says, "Wow, electric. What kind? Do you like electric bikes at all, Karen? Have you ever been on an electric bike?"
My Groms aren't electric, those are gas powered. I actually have been on a couple electric bikes. I rode I know everyone's gonna hate me for saying this, but I did ride the Harley Livewire and I loved it. I mean, everything has its purpose, obviously. You're not gonna take that to a rally, you're not gonna take it on long trips. You have nowhere to charge it, but for just going around town and for riding if you live in a city, they're actually really, really cool bikes. And I ride one wheels too. I know that's a little weird, but I love one wheeling whenever I'm home. And the one group that I ride with, one of the guys in it, I forget the name of it. It was one of the electric bikes that looks like a dirt bike, Ciron or Ciron or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. You got
Um,
it.
they
Mhm.
let me ride that. That thing was super cool. They sound weird.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to. I think you nailed it. My buddy Ray Muro is watching, and along with him, we got to test a Stark Varg, which is completely electric dirt bike. Now we got on this thing; it's like 80 horsepower. It was crazy. I mean, it'll make your teeth chatter. It's that fast. So I think that what you said, that I don't know that the crowd that we know from the rallies are going to appreciate the
They
electric
do.
bikes,
Oh,
but
they
there's definitely going to be a market for them. I think you're going to see more and more of them moving forward.
There really is. Even I looked into Super 73 bikes because I live in Charlotte and they're a
Hmm.
huge thing. There's a big club that rides every Monday around Charlotte and they have pedals on them. So you can take them on the greenways here, which is really cool. You can ride them in the street, you can ride them on the greenways. And that's how a lot of people commute in the cities. And I know the rally crowd is more of a rural crowd. So there's not a whole lot of people that live in major cities, but when you live in a big city, man, like parking, all of that kind of stuff, it's just harder. So these electric bikes make it a lot easier.
Amen to that, guys. Miss Karin Noelle is our guest. Make sure if you don't double tap for me, double tap for her. We got to get over 100 likes on this video. Drop where you're watching from. And if you are coming to Bike Week, you better see this young lady at Froggy Saloon. She will be there each and every day serving drinks. Couple more questions I want to sneak in. I could talk
Yeah,
to you
of
for like
course.
5 hours, but you said something moments ago that kind of stole one of my questions. I was going to ask you, are you doing the rallies full time? And you just told me that no, you have a separate full time job, which amazes me that you have time to do all this.
It's
I
hard.
gotta say, from a business standpoint, you seem to have this more dialed in than a lot of the other bartenders that I talk to. I can really tell when I see you, I see entrepreneur all the way down to bringing your own menu and the different things that you sell, which we got to talk about the hurricane shot, by the way, that
I can't believe that went so viral. Like I all of my friends from back home, they're like, "Wait, you really slap people at rallies?" I'm like, if they're gonna pay me to do it, I'm gonna do it. I don't know why that's my thing. I don't know why they like it, but it's entertaining. Their friends like it. That's my most viral video that I've ever had were all hurricane shots. The one of them is up to I think like 25 point something million on my Instagram right now with a hurricane shot from Sturgis. And the guy that got it was the coolest guy ever. Like he was so cool. Him and his wife came out to Sturgis for their anniversary and they both wanted hurricane shots for me. That was like their anniversary treat. It was hilarious. They were the coolest people ever. And I'm like, you want me to hit both of you? Like I didn't hit his wife, but it was so
Now,
much fun.
now, for those of you who do not know in the comments wondering what a hurricane shot is, I believe for $25, a
Yes.
lovely bartender or Miss Karin Noelle will give you a shot. You get a shot of alcohol. You then get cold water in your face, and
Mhm.
then you get a slap across your face, which can really vary on roughness depending on the bartender, which I have found. I think
Yeah.
your one friend Stacy said she's a category 5 and actually
She
made a
is.
man draw
She is.
blood.
She did. She knocked a guy out in Sturgis. And I gave a guy a bloody nose in Sturgis, and that was the first bloody nose that I ever gave. I gave like 3 of his friends hurricane shots. He's like, "Oh, you didn't hit him hard enough. You didn't hit him hard enough." I'm like, I don't want to hit them that hard. That's not the point. It's supposed to be fun. He's like, "No, no, 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 no. Like, stop being a B word. Like, you got to hit me hard." I'm like, "All right." And he was probably like in his mid 20s and just was running his mouth the whole night. And the bar was packed, like slammed packed. And I gave him a hurricane shot and his nose just started running like a faucet. And I thought that kid was going to cry. He's like, "I'm bleeding." I'm like, "This is what you asked for." I'm sorry. I asked you how many times I got your consent. You said to hit him. I hit him.
So I got to ask you this because I love the comments I get from women when these things go viral and they just talk about how dumb men are. Are you ever amazed that a man will pay that much money to get slapped in the face, or
You
does it
know,
just speak to your wonderful personality and how beautiful you are that it's
I
just
I don't get it. I get all those comments too. They're like, "This is stupid. I don't get it." I mean, it's funny. Like everybody's out there to have a good time. They're out there for the show. They're out there for the party. And if that's what you want to do and you want a viral video on the internet, I mean, hey, more power to you. It's some of them it's hot out. It feels good to get water thrown in your face. Maybe not slapped, but
Yeah, I can understand that part. I think you deliver a very good hurricane shot because I don't see you hurting people either. I think that I've seen a few girls maybe go a little too hard. Maybe some guys like that, different
that
strokes for different folks, you know.
you
I
know, it's
I
what some of them
necessarily
ask
am not a
for.
huge fan of getting slapped in the face, but I can appreciate the entertainment aspect of it.
I think it's hilarious, especially when it's somebody that has just been a pain in the butt all day long and they ask for one. I'm like, "Oh yes, this is great. This is golden." But I think the other thing is they don't think some of these girls can hit that hard, and they can. I mean, Stacy does roping, so she's got a cannon on her.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
100%. Karen, let me ask you the elephant in the room here before we go on this one. Then we'll continue on Facebook briefly for all of you guys out there. But you're a beautiful young lady. You're surrounded by just hundreds of thousands of men at these rallies. How many times do you get asked for your phone number, a date, etc.?
All
How do you handle
all
that when these are also your customers? Uh,
I've never accepted on any of them. Like I said, I'm there to work. I've met a lot of really, really cool people for rallies, but I'm not there looking to date anybody. If I was going to date somebody, it's not going to be somebody that I'm seeing at a rally because what if it goes wrong? Then I got to see you all the time at my work. So, no, unfortunately, I'm sorry. I don't give out my phone number at rallies, but I appreciate everybody asking. I get lots of marriage proposals. Lots of weird things. I like making friends, but that's about as far as it's gonna go. Sorry. I probably shouldn't have said that because now like people are gonna bring me less snacks or anything to work or they're not gonna tip me as much. But I'm always honest.
Well, hey, like I said, you've made a believer out of me with your work ethic because I know how tired I get. It's similar jobs that we have. I'm always chasing content, and you know that the rally hours are shrinking, and you got to make hay while the sun shines. And some days I just get so worn out, and I look at you and I say, "There's Karen slinging drinks left and right," and I'm sure. Most of the people at these rallies are so cool, so down to earth. We do know occasionally you have to deal with some problematic customers that happens on my end. I'm sure that happens on your end, and it can wear you out a little bit. It can be tough. How do you typically deal with somebody that's a little tough to deal with?
I everybody asks me that, and you know what? There's a couple people at rallies that are just kind of a pain in the butt, and you just kind of keep smiling and nodding, but like, yeah, okay, okay, and then they go away eventually. Luckily, it's just the tiresome part. I'm sure you feel this. It's just being on. for that amount of time. And like most people, if they're not in your type of industry or they're not in the media or modeling or that type of industry, you don't know what it means like to just be on all the time. And that's the hardest part about rallies is like I can't take a break for like 5 seconds to like even take a bite of food or just relax or anything because there's always camera in your face. There's always someone they want that 110% of your personality and your energy all the time. And if you don't give that to them, like I've seen people that have commented, "Oh, she was a bitch the one day when I was there." And I'm like, "You probably caught me at an off time or you said something really bad, but you know what? I'm human. I'm there for 16 I'm physically behind the bar for 16 hours a day for 10 days in a row." So it's a lot.
Very true. I couldn't agree more. I am 95% of the time very happy guy. I'm so flattered if somebody comes up and they recognize and view my content. But yeah, there are those days, like I said, where if I didn't get enough sleep and I've been out there for 10 hours and it's tough. And all it takes is one bad interaction with somebody
Yep.
and they're going to shred you. But to your point, last year I was just grinding, and then met a couple of good friends that work at a production company that I hadn't seen in a while. And I really should have went back and went to bed. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take 2 hours and go back and pretend like I'm a normal guy at Bike Week and enjoy myself. And I did have a good time. So I really hope you get to take at least a couple hours, whether it's looking at the beach for a couple hours or a couple hours off the clock to really enjoy yourself at Daytona.
Daytona, unfortunately, I love Daytona, but that's the one that I have no free time. This Thursday, I'm working 7 p.m. to close. That's really my only day that I get to go out and semi enjoy myself. And the worst part is that the Iron Horse doesn't open their steak tips until Friday.
Oh
So I
boy.
can't even go and get my favorite bike week treat because they don't open until Friday. So
Well,
Daytona's the only one that my hours are really just that ridiculous that I don't get time to enjoy it. But for the most part, the other rallies, Arizona, Sturgis, Laconia, I actually do get to enjoy myself a little bit. That's the other bonus of having a Grom with me, and then I can go out and ride for a little bit.
very, very cool. Well, guys, if Karen has a couple more minutes, we're going to continue this on Facebook for
Yeah,
just a few minutes. But Karen, before we go, for this entire audience saying hello, could you just again let everybody know where they can see you, where they can follow you, and maybe some people are just discovering you for the very first time today. So everything that you do, let us know where we can follow you at.
of course. So if you're going to Daytona Bike Week, I will be starting this Thursday night at Froggy's Saloon and then 11 a.m. to close every single day starting Friday through the end of Bike Week. I'll be at Froggy's Saloon. When you walk past Froggy's, when you're on Main Street, there's a little opening to their patio there. I'm the first bar on the right. You can't miss me. You can literally see me from Main Street all Bike Week long, Froggy's Saloon. So make sure you come out, see me at Froggy's. And if you want to follow me on social media, Facebook and Instagram, my handle is at Miss Karin Noelle. It's KarinNoelle. And then I think my YouTube is linked here. I got to get better at YouTube. That's definitely something that I got to get better at. But it's a lot trying to do the media and work all the hours and still keep a full time job and try and have somewhat of a social life being on my off season.
Well, I'm happy to help, and I think I'm going to make it a quest to check in with you every single day at Bike. If you're busy, just give me an inadvertent hurricane shot and tell me to get away. You can always do because I
I
always
would
feel bad. I
never.
never want to interrupt your flow. That when you have a lot of customers, I don't want to barge in or anything. But I love giving those
They
little
They
updates
don't
and
mind at all. Like pretty much all of my customers love you. Like you don't know how many times I get asked, "Where's Jack? Where's Jack? Where's Jack?" all week long. They'll come down and they'll find me. They're like, "Have you seen Jack yet?" I'm like, "Not yet," but he usually comes out here at night. So hang around at night when people start doing burnouts and crazy stuff. I'm sure you'll see Jack some there.
super cool, super flattering, and I don't want to give away all my secrets to all these men watching right now, but I love the text that I get, which is, "You're having the time of your life. You're hanging out with all these beautiful women," and it's like, man, Karen can back me up on this one. I see Karen for about 60 seconds, and then
Yes.
nobody sees the 8 hours of editing back in the hotel room and the thumbnail selection and the title selection, and all that. But hey, I'm not complaining. So really, really looking forward to it. Thanks so much, Karen. We'll do a couple minutes over on Facebook for everybody watching right now.
Sure.
Join us on Cycle Drag Facebook. We'll do a couple minutes and we will see you there. Thanks so much, Karen Noelle. See you in a couple minutes.
Bye, YouTube.